Hello everyone and welcome. I'm going to be doing some rear door repair on this extended cab Ford SuperDuty. This is a 2001, but most of your extend cabs are going to be pretty damn similar from 99 to 2016. So reason I'm doing this is because the door lock actuator, which is essentially your latch system, it finally gave up on this side, and I've got it zip tied in there to where it'll work, and I'll show you what I did and all that. But I don't expect those zip ties to hold, and to open this, if they break, I'm going to have to crawl in and disassemble the door, which is not as hard as it sounds. It's actually pretty easy, but we'll go ahead and start by getting this apart, and I'll show you what it looks like in there, and then you might be able to disable it, or take it apart yourself. So first thing you want to do is take this loose here. There's just a couple of screws. You can, if you are so inclined, if I can do it one-handed, you can undo it like that if you want. I mean, it helps a little bit. I wouldn't get too crazy pushing on this. But once you've got that out, you can use your fingers, or you can use one of these trim remover tools, and you want to take this upper panel off. You just want to peel your weather stripping out of the way, just gently pull it out. So see if I can get you in there where you can see right down in here. You'll see it when I get the panel off, I guess. But there's where the clips are at. All you got to do is just start like one, and then usually the others just come off without much issue. And then you can kind of, if you're careful, go around and pop them off by hand. There. I mean, just don't go yanking on it too hard. Okay, so you've got some plastic clips there, and then you just got some plastic pieces that slide into those right there. But that's what it looks like. Not too bad. I mean, it's dirty and faded, but you know. So I had my trim tool on this prying just to get it started. You can probably get in there with your fingers and pull it. So once you get that done, what you're going to want to do next is remove these two screws. And if this panel hasn't been off before, or if somebody got, really adventurous, they probably put these scrivets back in, and they suck. Just they're plastic rivets. You're supposed to screw the insert out and then pop the rivet out with a trim tool. Just break them off. They're freaking worthless. So these bolts are should be a 9/32, unless I'm stunned, and I am not. They are also a 7mm. I think the 7mm fits them a little bit better, but the 9/32 will fit them just fine. And then there's those round-ended screws. There is a part number for that particular screw. If I can find it, I'll put it in the description down below. And the door lock actuator thing will also be down below. So once you get all that done, if you want to, and you can, like I said, you can do this in vehicle. You just kind of have, assuming you don't have a bunch of crap in the back like I do in mine, you can do this in vehicle if you need to get access in here and get this apart to try and get your door to open. So next, you just want to pick up on that, pull it out. It's got like those that go in the holes. Now there's also this covering, which on this is only held in by the speaker and the little bit of glue that's left. I mean, you're supposed to be careful with them, but that never happens. So we're just going to set that on the back here. And then for these, one moment, if I remember right, I think they are a 7/32. I think a quarter is just a little bit too big. And there's probably a metric size, but I always use the 7/32, and these should not be in here tight at all. Now these are just coarse thread screws, and I'm doing all this one-handed just to show you how easy it is. I have a tripod right here, but you're going to want to pull that speaker, and yeah, see, they come out real easy. I'll put you on the tripod when I go to disconnect the speaker and get this covering out of here, because I don't want to damage it. There's another problem that likes to happen with these doors where they won't shut, and then your front door won't shut all the way, and when you drive down the road it'll get all rattly, and I'll show you that after a bit. But see, the plastic has enough of an indentation in it from those hooks that you can kind of hook it in the door, but if you're going to do any door repairs, you need to take it off. And just, I mean, maybe be careful with it a little bit. I mean, who's keeping track? So get your speaker here and then pull that connector off. Set your speaker aside. It's just a simple connector. You push that tab in and pull up on it. They always come off easy. So here we have a cable for the door lock actuator, and we've got a piece here that holds it in. This right here holds the wire for your speaker. But this is the door latch system, and it's pretty complicated. So we're going to take a sit here, and I'll show you what's going on. So what happened is this cable up here has a groove cut in it, and it locks into a little slot that's cut out up here. And then the rest of the cable, it goes down in here, and so that when you pull on your door handle, it actuates everything like it's supposed to. Well, this finally wore out, and so I just zip tied it in place to where it's still hooked here, but it's braced here, because what was happening was, instead of pulling on the metal cable through the sheath, I was pulling the entire assembly. This black is supposed to be stationary. You're supposed to pull the metal cable in and out when you run your door handle, and that's that function was not working properly. I'd also zip tied this right here for safety purposes, and so yeah, that quit working, and I decided, I mean, you can like just order these. You can't get these cables that I found. You have to buy the whole assembly, and it is rather pricey. This one I ordered was about 80 bucks. It was not cheap. So in theory, what you should be able to do is, I'm not entirely sure how that is on the back side. The main thing I wanted to do is show you how the door panel comes off and show you what your latch assembly looks like in here. To undo the bottom, there's 3 T27 headed Torx screws that hold it in, and then on the top, it's, sorry, same thing. I don't know yeah, that one has to come out too. So you just got 3 on each end, and you can pull them out, and then you can work it all the way down. Now, what I'm not entirely sure is how the hell these are supposed to come off in here. That's what I'm not sure of, but we'll get her figured out. There's no way for me to show you what I'm doing in here while I'm doing it, so I'll just bring you guys back when I get it pulled out. We'll take a gander at it and get the new one thrown in. All right, next day, because I didn't think I had enough daylight left yesterday to finish this. And last night, as I was doing stuff, it just popped into my head that there was a video that PowerStroke Help put out about these door latches. And I remember watching it, and I watched it again last night. And apparently, these are rivets, which you have to grind off or drill out. Or if you want to do, I don't know, file them down. You need to grind them off, get them out of here. There's no saving them. And then in the video, Mr. Hewitt put in new rivets. I'm not going to do that if I can keep from it. I'm going to use bolts. And I might even buckle down and use lock nuts, even though I hate them. So what I'm going to do is focus on getting this out of here. And I will link that PowerStroke Help video down below. You guys can go watch it. And just in case some of you are not aware, Mr. Hewitt did pass away a few months ago. So even though he's gone, his videos still live on and are very helpful to people like me who are stunned and forget what they're doing. So I'm just going to get the camera in here and remember where all the latch rods and such go. There's really only one way they can go back in, I believe. But regardless, I'm going to grind these off, see about bolts, and I'll bring you guys back when I get it all assembled or whatever. Okay, back from the hardware store with lock nuts, because I think that's going to be the smartest thing to do in this application, even though I despise lock nuts, but they will at least come out easier than the rivets did, because I had to grind them off. I may have scuffed the old latch a little bit. This thing, it does still work. I mean, it's nice and smooth still. It's not bad. It's just that right here is where the cable broke, because that right there is supposed to snap into this, as you can see right there, like that. And that's what broke, and that's why it was just pulling the cable around. So what I'm going to do to fasten it is use just 1/4 by 3/4 bolts, and that's just your standard coarse thread. That's part of the reason I'm using lock nuts. and that's what I'm going to try and do. It should work fine, but I wanted to show you the new latch compared to the old one. Now, there are Ford part numbers if you want to get an official Ford latch, but the place where I usually get my Ford parts, you know, it's still like $140 for the driver's side. And this unit from Rock Auto was $80, which is a little pricey, but you know, it's fairly well built. I mean, it doesn't feel like it's cheap. It doesn't look like it's cheap. It looks just as good as the factory one. And if it'll run another 209,000 miles in 23 years, then we'll be in good shape. So, yeah, we've got our lower and our upper here. Holes tapped and everything. Now, the one thing that I noticed, and this is why you want to be careful when you're taking stuff apart, because you don't know what you're going to have to transfer over to the new unit. They sent these two rod clips, which I actually have a part number for these, because this is the same rod retaining clip that holds the latch rod on an excursion end gate. I believe it's the exact same thing. So if I remember, I'll put that part number down there. But you can get these. I think this is the same thing, just different colored. I mean, they look the same. I'm not sure, but these three should all be the same. But the thing you're going to have to transfer over is this tan piece that goes right here. And the reason you have to do that is because this is what your rod attaches to, the one that is attached to the outside handle here. That one. This rod right here, as you can see, is not threaded. It's only made to pull and then retain, and then it just, you know, goes back. So these have threads on them, which is why they have those green clips, but that tan clip that's on there, you have to transfer that over. Now, I'm going to do a little research if I remember. There's a lot of stuff if I remember. That's a very common phrase on this channel. But if I remember, I will do some research and I will see if I can find a part number so that if you break this, you can replace it. There's got to be a part number somewhere for these. But I'm going to have to look around and see if I can find it. And then without ordering it and getting it here in front of me, I'm not going to be sure. But I will, if I do remember, I will do the research and I will put a part number for this down below, the part number that I think is correct. And then if I'm wrong, I'm sorry, but I'm almost certain the latch rod retainers are the same for everything, these green ones. And I got a number for it, but I got to find a number for that, just in case you break this when you get it off. And if it doesn't unclip from down below when it's in the vehicle, it'll unclip from the top. But you don't want to break that plastic strap, because that's what makes this thing work. So, all that being said, I will get this mounted in here and get everything tight, and then we'll just verify that it works and move on to the next part, because while this is the biggest part of the door fix, there's a few other things I want to point out and talk about while we're on the subject of the extended cab rear doors, because they're problematic. Okay, new latch installed. The 3/4 by 1/4 bolts worked really well with the lock nuts, which I may have not gotten threaded correctly. I was going to try and get you in there and show you. It looks like I may have gotten them cross-threaded, or somebody stuck a bunch of metric bolts in the 1/4-inch bolt bin at the Tractor Supply. Not sure which, don't care, but it's all hooked up correctly as it should be. There's that rod. This is firmly in here. I'm just going to double check real quick. This is firmly in down here. That's all snapped into place. They sent a new one of these on the lower cable. The lower latch is in. We're going to talk about this in just a minute. The upper latch is in, and do a quick check here. That all actuates like it should. Run the safety here. That works, and of course the outside handle works. So if we just adjust our weather stripping here real quick, just dang it, there, that's good enough. So effortless and solid. And that's what we want. Closes easy, opens easy, and when it does close, it's nice and solid. That's what you want. And so that way then, move the grinder out of the way here. That way, when you come to shut your main door, it shuts solid, nice and smooth, and opens up nice and easy. And that is what we want. I think that this is the nicest the doors on this pickup have ever opened on this side. So yeah, we're looking good there. And now we're going to talk about some other problems that I'm going to try and fix. The passenger side is the better example because it's still broken. This side is mostly fixed. But we'll talk about that and fix that up. Then that should be the end of the video. Okay, so door latch aside, there are some bigger problems with these rear doors on the Super Cabs that you may not know about. The way these doors are built is, I mean, I'm going to be honest, I don't know how much better they could have actually built them. But the problem with these is, first and foremost, this striker here likes to get loose. And it's not loose now because I fixed it. There's a video about me fixing this striker. I'll try and link it down below. So the description is going to be full of interesting stuff if you want to go check it out, assuming I remember to put it all there. But this striker was loose for the longest time, and the driver's door just flat would not shut. So what I discovered, and I kind of talked about it in that video, what I discovered was that this baffle in here is what that striker's attached to, okay? And it's solid now because I fixed it with these self-tapping screws, and then I filed them off here on the back side, right there. Sorry, right here. Filed them off so that everything shuts good and is okay. If for whatever reason those fail to hold after a while, then I have some other ideas. But these little spot welds here that Ford put in on these doors, they like to break. And Power Stroke Panther, what are you doing? Anyway, so I solved that problem. Well, the door shut a lot better after I tightened the striker up. But then the other problem I had, what I discovered, was down here. Now, I had someone fix this, and they did a good job because this was starting to tear here, and I really appreciate that they did that for me. They did not have to. But the bottom of the door was starting to separate because there's a spot weld here that holds all these formed pieces together. And I would get underneath and show you, but then the camera would keep trying to flip from portrait to landscape, and that's going to make editing difficult. So this tear was, of course, and I need to oil his hinges, but this tear was affecting this latch here. It wasn't able to seat properly on this lower striker. And so the bottom of the door would not shut. And so you were able to grab it here and move it. And then that would cause this door to not shut. So, hi, sweet kitty. We'll go over to the passenger side. If I didn't park too close to the embankment, and I probably did, because that's the only way to get anything level around here. No, it doesn't look like it. So on the passenger side, trip over the pillar motor. So this door does shut. But as you can see, grab the door here, it moves a little bit, especially down here. It's not supposed to do that. It's supposed to be nice and solid. And you can tell when you shut the passenger door because, well, I mean, the striker is a little loose. That's not helping. But I think you can see it right in here. Okay, see how that moves? You should be able to see how that's moving. It's supposed to be that spot weld right there. See if I can get you in the shade a little bit. Okay. That is why the driver's door was having problems. Because the lower started to peel away. And then it started tearing right in here. The passenger side hasn't started yet. Probably what I need to do for this is not only fix this bottom, which I have a plan for, but I also need to come in here and tighten the striker up a little bit. But we're going to firm up the bottom of the door and see, we're going to firm up the bottom of the door, and we're going to see what that does. So, the mud in the striker is probably not helping. Yeah, it's just a little bit loose, and that's not good. So what we're going to do is pop this plug out. We're going to do the same thing on the driver's side, and we're going to put a bolt in. to try, because you've got enough room to get back here. Not a lot, but some. You could put a bolt in and hold this together. So when I had the Master Wizard weld the driver's door up and fix it, what he said was that I should put a bolt in to help hold that, so that the weld does not have to do all the work. He said it doesn't have to be much, but he said come in here where this plug is at and just drill through and put in a bolt with some fender washers and make sure that it's not going to interfere with anything when it's closed. And so that's what we're going to be doing, is fixing that down here. Again, this is one of those things where I can't really do it on camera because there's no good way to show you, but we'll pop that plug out and then we should be able to get in there and drill a hole without any problem and be able to put some bolts in. And I purchased some bolts of 1.5 and 2 inch because I have 2.5 here at the house, and I'm thinking I want to use a 5/16 bolt, mainly because I was not expecting to use all of my 1/4 inch lock nuts on the door latch, but I did. I used all of them except one, which I dropped in there and I need to pull out with a magnet, but you know, I've only got one of those, and so we'll just have to see. If I have to go back to town and get more, I guess I have to go back to town and get more. But that's the plan to fix this door the rest of the way. So between the striker being fixed, the bottom of the door being held back together, and with a new latch in it, these doors should stay pretty solid, or at least this particular one will. That's the hope. And then, because I open this a lot, because I keep all my tools back here, so that should make this a lot more robust, and it should last a lot longer. And that's what we will be doing for the rest of the video. When I get that done, I'm just going to show you before and after. I mean, I can't get in and show you what I'm doing while I'm doing it. So we'll do a little before and after, and that should solve the problem. Okay, next day again, and we're on the passenger side now. But, I mean, as you can see, I've got the door panels off and stuff here. So the key to fixing this and getting it back into place, as you can see, that spot weld is not quite perfectly lined up there. I may have to tighten this up. I may have to let off a little slack. But the key is you're going to want a 2.5 inch long bolt. And I recommend 1/4 inch bolt, but you can do a 5/16, I think. And I just got it as centered as I could on the back side here and drilled through. Okay, and as you can see, I have a fender washer here. And you don't want to suck it in too tight because you will deform the sheet metal here, and you don't want to do that. I ran out of I couldn't find my lock nuts, so I just used 2 regular nuts and a flat washer, and that gives it. And I don't know if you can get in there and see. There's no way for me to really show you, but if you get it just the right angle, I mean, you can see in there that the bolt is just barely clear of the body here. So you can use a 2.5 inch. If you wanted to be real precise and real careful, you could always cut it off with a cutting wheel, grind it down, and it would be fine. So that's how you fix that. The bolt thing held this together. So now, and I do have to give it a little force to shut just because the latches on this passenger side are still factory. The other side, man, it just shuts beautifully. It really does. So get that back down. I noticed that was starting to come up. Sill plates will do that. So while I was in here, I went ahead, and the striker was a little loose. And so I went ahead and tightened it up, and I improved slightly on my technique from the last time I did this. Again, that video of fixing the striker will be in the description down below. But this time, instead of putting, because I had like a screw down here and then I think a couple up here on the driver's side, this time I went between where the spot welds are supposed to be. You can see them there. I got them all lined up. And then I also put one in the center here, which goes behind the striker. And so what I did was I drilled the hole, I ran the screw in some just to kind of cut a little bit of a thread in the metal. Then I pulled it back out and cut it off. I could have taken a tad bit more off, and then I went ahead and threaded it back in. These up top here, I need to file them down, but once you put them in, and I'm just using these tin screws because I got that rubber washer on there for securing roof metal. You could use anything that's about this size. If we wanted to get a real precise measurement on that, I would say that these are probably 5/32 screws, just if you were curious, because it looks to me that the 9/64 is just a tad small. 5/32 looks about right, and the 3/16 is too big. So I would say these are 5/32 screws. Now you could go a little smaller, you could go a little bigger, but once I screwed them through, I just took my lineman pliers here and I got right up against and grabbed it and just broke it off, and it'll be fine. Everything shuts and it's not going to interfere with anything. And that is nice and solid, and that is also nice and solid. I mean, yes, it flexes a little bit, but that's normal. And so I mean, this here isn't perfect, but I know now that it's as shut as it's going to be. There might be an issue somewhere else that I'm not seeing, but the rear door is shutting correctly, which I knew was a major problem. So we've got all that solved. And you know, with good latches, you know, your striker's secured, your bottom of the door secured. I mean, that pretty well fixes the majority of the issues that these things have, these rear doors on these super cabs. So that's pretty much all I have to show you. That will do it. I hope that you found this informative. Please go check out the Power Stroke help video for doing the latches if you want to, and I'll have another video down there that I did fixing the other door with these screws if you want more detail on that. And I will try and remember all of the part numbers I said I'd put down below, and they will be down below as well. So you guys can use that information to your benefit. I will let you go. Good luck repairing your SuperDuty, and thank you for watching. We'll see you guys later.